Welcome back, guys. Most games these days, they're all about multiplayer. They're all about connecting onto the internet and playing with other people. If you just want to chill out, be on your own, sit on your couch and relax, this next list is for you. It's our top 10 single-player experiences, and these are the best games to play on your own. And number 10 is Age of Mythology. It's a real-time strategy game based around Greek, Egyptian, and Norse mythology. The challenge of gaining the favour of the gods while building an empire and defending against attackers adds a unique twist to the standard RTS format. And number 9 is Fable. While not being as extensive an open world as Peter Molyneux said it would be, Fable still provides hours of gaming with a large array of choices to make and a classic fantasy tale.
Unlucky hero, maybe next time.
At number 8 is StarCraft 2. StarCraft 1 has a fantastically deep and detailed story that set itself apart from other RTS games at the time. StarCraft 2 continues this, and Heart of the Swarm adds an arcade mode for players to create their own custom games for others to play.
Hell, it's about time.
At number 7 is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. From starting a gang war to modifying cars, San Andreas delivers it all in a huge world filled with controversial themes and satire.
Where'd you get that?
Same place I bought my pants, Holmes. This is America.
At number 6 is Limbo. Using your wit and quick thinking, Limbo offers a gaming experience like no other. It requires you to think outside the box as you utilise your surroundings to get from point A to point B without meeting a gruesome end. And number 5 is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. While being more of a standalone expansion than a full game, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood added humour to what was a tale of revenge in the last game, along with new gadgets and abilities. And number 4 is Portal 2. The first Portal game kicked everything off with its new twist to puzzle games, requiring thinking way outside the box to progress. Portal 2 adds new puzzles and ways to solve them, keeping players thinking way outside the box. And number 3 is Halo 3. The Battle for Earth concludes with Master Chief saving the world. Its balance of engaging storytelling and fast-paced combat made it an instant favourite.
Your future.
At number 2 is Skyrim. Skyrim is one of those games where you don't need multiplayer to have fun. The amount of stuff to do in the game will have you exploring the world for hundreds of hours before you even decide to take on the questline. And the number 1 single-player experience is The Last of Us. One of the most critically acclaimed games of 2013, winning over 60 awards from Best Writing to Best Third-Person Shooter, its dark yet uplifting tale will have you glued to your seat for hours.
Can't be any worse than in here. Can it?
So people might be a little bit surprised that StarCraft 2 is on that list because it is predominantly a multiplayer game, but the single-player version is just so good. Have either of you two played the StarCraft campaigns?
I played both, and I really love the second one. The first one's still good, and I like how you don't need, 300 APM just to beat it, which is good for me because I was never good at that game. But now we're going to E3 2014, where John is interviewing Firaxis about Civilization Beyond Earth.
G'day everyone, we're at the front of the 2K booth at E3 2014. We've just walked out of a presentation for Civilization Beyond Earth, a brand new sci-fi themed Civ game coming out later this year. We're going to go and have an interview about it right now.
A new beginning for mankind.
G'day everyone. I'm here with Lena, the lead producer for Civilization Beyond Earth. G'day, Lena. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Fantastic. We've just come out of the demo. We've just had a look at it.
Cool.
It looks great. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd as well, and
Awesome.
I'm not. I like playing Civ. But I'm not like our director Chris, where I'm like at 2 a.m. going, oh, just one more turn. What I really like about this new one is there's 3 distinct factions,
Oh, yeah.
which makes things a lot clearer as opposed to having 100+ leaders. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked playing as Gandhi and taking over the world.
Nukes.
Yeah, with nukes. But I like how it's a lot simpler. Tell us about the reasoning why you've gone to just 3 distinct factions.
Well, there's actually 8 factions in terms of leaders and civilizations.
Oh, okay.
But then there's 3 main directions you can take because we're going in an unknown future and there's a lot of possibilities technology-wise and research-wise. So we looked at current research and current science and looked like what would be the main streams, main possibilities that sound like really cool ideas. We ended up with a bit of a robot army, alien army, and like just an army of humans with really big guns. So those are the 3 directions. They are purity, harmony, and supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the purity guys, their approach is basically that they want to stay human, they want to change the planet to fit them. The supremacy guys want to become independent of any surroundings. They say like robotics and cybernetics are the way to go, so that we don't have to struggle again if we need to move to another planet yet. And the harmony guys are really committed to this new planet. They're like, okay, this is our new home. Let's set down here and let's make ourselves as adapted and as indigenous as we can. And they study the genes of the wildlife there and really study the planet and become as adapted through gene splicing and genetic modifications as they can.
So it sounds like with these 3 distinct factions, there's endless possibility for the ways you can play the game, which is fantastic for strategy games. Obviously, this is in the future, so we can't just rely on history and say in 1673 this bloke went over there.
Right.
And so with this whole thing, how has it been like restrictive for you to say, oh, we've got to now come up with things for the future, or has it been a lot more freeing for you creatively?
I think there was actually a lot more freedom. Usually Civilization, in terms of gameplay systems as well as art assets, we have to map out what happened, the Cold War or the Renaissance. We try to map those times in history to make the feel of that period right, and that gives us a lot of reference, but it also guides our decisions. Now this time around, like one of the gameplay engineers actually got to work on Gods and Kings and Brave New World, and now he's working on this one. And all the ideas he had before that he couldn't quite fit into human history, he gets to try out now. For example, the orbital layer he's been working on. This orbital layer, satellites come in so late in human history that it doesn't quite make sense to have them in a historic setting because you wouldn't get to play with it a lot. This time around you get the orbital layer pretty early because we already travel to other planets, so shooting satellites up into orbit isn't that big a deal. So you get access to satellites really early, and so it was both challenging and liberating, I would say.
You mentioned Gods and Kings, one of the people who works on that. Obviously, Civ 5 has a lot of DLC that you can get, including the Gods and Kings expansion. With this new Civ coming out, though, it seems like it feels like for players that you're going to a sort of a smaller package. Are there any ideas for expansions sometime in the near future?
We would totally love to continue working on this and to put more gameplay systems in, to put more content in, but we don't know yet. Well, if everybody else is as excited about it as we are, we'll probably get a chance to do it, but we don't know yet, so we'll see where it goes.
And in terms of research, obviously with previous Civ games, there's been lots of historical research involved. Have you researched any, researched any, anything in the sci-fi genre to sort of draw inspiration from to place into Beyond Earth?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of inspiration coming from books, from TV shows, from games. And I think the list is probably different for every team member. I know the game designers, the lead designers and gameplay engineers, they had a list at the beginning just of literature that they went through and read. And I know the artists looked at a lot of movies as well. So if you look at the different affinities, you know, the robotics and the aliens and the purity guys, I think you'll see a lot of influences from very different books and movies.
That's fantastic. And finally, where can players get their hands on Beyond Earth?
So Civilization Beyond Earth will be out in fall this year already. It'll be on PC, Linux and Mac. And I hope everybody gets a chance to play.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.